All right, so we're just going to dive right into it. I brought my A game today to share with everybody some actual real examples. Before we get into those real examples, though, we do want to share some of the best practices we're seeing. So what we've heard in the past from Amazon is that by upgrading to Premium A+, you should see at least a 9% increase in sales due to the fact that video is so impactful. So if you're using video in your Premium A+, Amazon correlates it to the 9% increase. What we know now, though, is doing Premium A+ well, you can see upwards of 300% increase in sales, and it has nothing to do with video. So I'm going to share some best practices really quick, and then we're going to show the examples and kind of dissect them a little bit and show how those best practices went into play on some of these brands, and that way people can be actual tangible design details. So if we look at this here, what we did is an analysis across just a handful of clients that went from basic A+ to premium. And actually, we should probably just really quick explain what basic is and what premium is. So on the screen here, if I scroll down, something like this example here with Joya, this is B+. So if you see here, these banners do not go all the way left to right. They are higher, taller in height, top to bottom, but they do not go the full width of the on Amazon. The other thing you'll notice is that we typically in the past have always stacked our banners one on top of the next to give it that landing page feel. The problem is that it always had a white margin in between each of the images, so it kind of breaks it up a lot, which, we kind of do what you can with the design abilities that Amazon's giving you. And then we would always infuse a little bit of SEO into these images down here at the bottom, and of course include a comparison grid, which you always want to do. Now with Premium A+, you can have a completely seamless design that feels more like a landing page top to bottom. So it flows, it takes up the full width of the screen. So I'll actually show you what these look like on Amazon in just a moment, but this is just a quick example to show you the difference of what you can do with Premium A+. You can have carousels, you can have hotspots, you can have videos. It's a much more interactive experience, and it allows you to design in a much more effective way. So now let's say that we do optimize hundreds of e-commerce brands every year, CPG brands, supplement brands, pet products, across the board. We do tons of different categories. Practices that we're seeing across many categories are these. Prioritizing a mix of branded content, cross-selling, and storytelling in terms of your structure. You want to make sure that your designs are always created in a seamless way, top to bottom, like I just showed you. Now, these designs can also be done in desktop and mobile. So once you finish your desktop view, you want to resize and format everything appropriately for the mobile version on Premium A+, which is another bonus that is not available on basic A content. The imagery that we use is always a mix of compelling lifestyle imagery where we're incorporating human elements, so showing hands, showing people, showing whoever the target audience is, and showing that product in use and close-ups of the product. Text is always as minimal as possible into the actual design with very large headers that are easy to digest, just a few sub-bullet points down the page, and making sure that all of the SEO is baked into the alt text behind those images. And then lastly, we utilize carousels and video whenever possible, but whenever it makes sense, right? Like we don't need a bunch of extra stuff. Video is great. I think brands think that they have to invest a ton of money in doing a premium video. You don't have to do that anymore. You could bring together a bunch of UGC content and make an e-com style video, and that can easily sit behind one of these banners and be your big video takeover. And then carousels, you'd want to think through if there's additional information that you're trying to get across that makes sense to get across or that can add a little bit more joy to the experience. So an example could be cross-selling, having a different banner for the different flavors of your product that people can scroll through, having recipes in those banners, or showing just different ways to use it, showing how to assemble it in those banners. So think through anything that would need steps or anything that could show variation can be a carousel. Okay, so these are the best practices that we've seen that are the most effective for Premium A+. And as you can see, there is not a heavy emphasis on video. And that's where we're seeing the results. And so just to go over some of these results, let me zoom out here. So it's a very small data set that we've just started tracking, but in the last 8 brands that we've upgraded from basic to premium, half of the brands saw up to a 40% increase in sales. So all of the brands saw an increase in sales, 100% of them. Half of them saw up to 40%. The other half saw 40 to 300% increase in sales. So there's still gains to be made. Even if you have basic A+ content, it's worth your while to invest in premium A+ content because you're going to see that money come back over the next 12 months and then some in many cases. Mm-hmm. Should we jump into some examples?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this is a client of ours, EWeLife, that we did a case study on. And you can see here, they had basic A+ content before. Now, if you have A+ content today and you're using these banners here that are really short in height, you're basically only getting half of the pixel space that you could get if you were doing something like this in your basic A+ content, which takes up double the amount of space, right? So, and you can have up to 7 of these modules top to bottom. So what I would recommend doing is having all of these big banners so you can take up as much pixel space as possible. And if you're going to go ahead and make that update, you might as well just upgrade to premium. And at this point, every brand should claim access to premium A+ content because it's available to basically every brand right now. So I highly recommend upgrading to premium rather than basic. But you can see this design takes more of like an infographical approach. There's no human elements. There's no lifestyle imagery, or actually there is none. It's very like icon driven, data driven, which is probably fine. It got them to where they are. But by actually thinking through more of a lifestyle approach and taking all the data from the reviews, all the questions the customers were asking, and trying to think through what could help. Like the one challenge with this brand is helping people understand that omega-3s can come from a better, safer, renewable resource, right? And so that's where EWeLife is kind of positioning their product. And so they want people to understand that you get even better benefits, better absorption, and just a better product overall by switching from what was traditional to this new product. And so we really want to take that information. It's so complex over here, and we just want to make it as simple as possible for people to understand. Do you want a better product, better absorption, vegan, and no fishy burps? Because that's the one thing that people hate about this supplement product. Well, then here you go. Here's your solution, right? And this is very easy, very big headers, lifestyle imagery. We're showing people in the images. We're showing close-ups of the product. And we're explaining it in a very simple way. Now, this right here is actually a cover for a video. So there would be a play button sitting right on top of this. Okay, so that's one example. Another example, and actually the data behind this one is that they increased their orders by 559%. So you can see how going from something like this to something like this. And with these changes that we're making, we're isolating our tests. So we're only updating premium A+ content in this case. So actually in this case, I lied. In this case, we did upload the SEO content, the product images, and the premium A+ at the same time. So it was a collective effort of what they saw. And so that's why we say that it can increase your sales by up to 300%, because all the ones that were isolated, we're seeing up to 300%.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's really a night and day difference.
Right? Yeah. And actually, if you look at their Amazon today, they've changed it even more. So they've kind of taken these learnings and improved it to target their demographic even more. So it's just kind of been an evolution. A lot of brands do this. They get into testing a different format entirely, and then they see that it works, and then they just continually test because they see the money's coming back already.
Yep.
Okay, so this is another supplement brand. I know you love your supplement brands, Riley. So I wanted to bring you some of these. So this is Myova. You can see that they had completely different branding before. This is actually a good example because a lot of brands do this approach where the content this is the old style of doing A+ content, where you have a banner at the top, and then you have a bunch of text, and then you have a couple squares of images, which in this case, they're really just the same image at a different angle, which doesn't give the customer anything else to learn or understand about your product. And then here we have another big thing of text. And then we have another big thing of text down here, right? So like we as shoppers are lazy. We have to remember this. We can't make people work too hard. We want to make sure if we do need some of that text so that we can explain some things, include the text, but make sure you have really big headers. And so that's the challenge with some supplements. You do need to get that technical information across, but you do also want to make sure that people can skim really quickly. And so here you can see we have new branding. We have a totally different aesthetic. Again, we have lifestyle imagery. We still have the story by the founder because I'm a storyteller through and through. Love to have a brand owner story. This is a carousel here. And again, on these, the content goes full scale left to right. So if you want to see an example of this, let's just take a look at this here. So here you can see these banners run all the way across. So we know as a behavior, what shoppers are doing is whether they're on their phone or on desktop, they're quickly looking at the product images, understanding if this is what they want. So you need to answer those questions like head on. And then they're like, boom, I want to go check out the reviews. And so if they're on desktop, they're scrolling. If they're on mobile, they're probably clicking the button that just takes them straight down to the reviews. In any case, this might be your last chance to stop the scroll. And so you want to figure out the best way to take up as much space as possible, or at least that's our ethos, and that's what we see working. And so here you can see the content completely takes over the screen. It definitely feels like a landing page baked into your product page.
Yeah.
And if you have media mentions, always build them in. All right.
Yeah, then taking the entire width is a whole different feel. If you just go on Amazon, you notice it right away. You're like, whoa,
totally,
what is this? Like
totally.
This is
because normally it's like this, right? It's like something like this.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't feel the same. You know, and you don't have the ability to expand on your content if you wanted to. You know, and remember with these like engagement pieces like carousels, it's less about just like having these quirky things just for the sake of having them. Think about it this way. Amazon is tracking every single thing that's happening on these pages. They're tracking how much time people spend on your page. So the same way that you might get a like versus a comment on Facebook, and Facebook's tracking all of that and deciding how much they're going to show you in those feed, it's kind of Amazon. The longer people are interested in your products, the more you're likely to show up in search. So you want to be thinking through what are some interesting value adds that we can bake into the rest of our content. Obviously, the most important items on these first banners is sub-content that could actually for the shopper and, you know, either be fun or aid them in their shopping experience. You want to put that into your carousel.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here's another one. This is the example we showed at the beginning. This is the Basic A+ from Joya. This is another amazing brand that went through a rebrand. We have a lot of brands that come to us that go through a rebrand and they just want to get everything set up right. And we have brands that have rebranded even a couple times and come back to us each time, which is kind of funny. Okay, so this example here, we can actually pull this one up. Actually, I already did right here. Let's go look at their premium. So this is your brand story, by the way. You need to have a brand story uploaded so that you can unlock your premium. We'll go through those requirements at the end because we're going to show you how simple it is to unlock your premium A+ content today. Every brand should do this. It's so easy. It takes 2 minutes, but we'll get to that at the end. But here you can see another great example of running the banners left to right, starting with a big, strong USP at the top. We're including lifestyle imageries, close-ups of the product. People can see it's a powder, explaining just a little bit about it. We have these icons that build trust. We have media mentions that build trust. Tuck a video behind here that the brand's working on, explaining the functionality of the product, more ways to enjoy this product, right? So this is that sub-content that I was talking about. Here we have what's in a super blend, so more of educational items so you understand this product a little bit better. What makes the difference in the product, so more of us versus them, the whole story. So,
I like
and
that
then obviously anchoring with the comparison grid.
I love that us versus them chart. I like how they just put the brand names. I get asked about that. I'm like, can you put the brand names? Like, yes, we're going head to head. Put the freaking top 3 brand names and show people why you're different and better.
Yeah, I think content is one of those things where you just have to experiment sometimes. There's a gray area, and you can push the limit. And when Amazon tells you cross the line, they're going to slap you on the wrist, because there's lots of different things that can happen with content. So obviously the biggest thing you don't want to be doing is putting words that are going to flag your content and get it suppressed. So that's something to be very aware of. And usually if you get a notification about that, you can change it really quick. Another way that you can make sure your content goes through without getting suppressed is run it as an Amazon experiment first. If your SKUs qualify for Amazon experiments, upload your product images there, make sure Amazon pushes them through. If they do, that's basically your signal that, okay, great, these are good to go. And you can either wait for the experiment to end or not, just push them live and see how you want to track that data.
Okay, gotcha. Can you go back to the video module there? Because I like that thumbnail. So did you put that huge white play button into the thumbnail image, right? Or
we did for the sake, but if you look here on the live view, it's not here. And the reason for that is because the brand hasn't uploaded their video yet. They're in the process of making it. So when they do, all they have to do is really upload the video behind this banner. And then Amazon will put the play button right here in the middle.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, I love that big, huge white play button. It just makes you want to click it, right? But I also love the idea of it's a good thumbnail with the rounded edges for the video.
Yeah, well,
it's a cool strategic thumbnail.
Yeah, you could put that on top of the actual Amazon play button. There's nothing wrong with that. The other thing you could do, which is really fun, and I don't know if we did it on, let's see if we did it on eWe. Let's look at this one. So here, where this phone is, you could actually put a play button right here on the phone. And you could even have an arrow pointing like, watch this video. Like you can design all kinds of things on top of there to get people to click and watch the video.
Oh, here's a question. Do you crop the videos to make them like super widescreen to fit the exact block, or do you just keep it as normal 16:9 normal video size shape?
That's a good, I think we would crop it. There's nothing wrong with cropping it.
I would crop it too.
The edits anyways.
Yeah, I've seen some brands crop it, and some, if you don't crop it, it plays, there's gonna be 2 black bars on the sides.
Which Amazon doesn't like that.
Yeah. And so
but they allow it now. They used to not allow it. They used to kick it back and say it was rejected when they would see the black bars. But what you can do, here's a quick little hack. You can actually drop your video, like create that size of the video that you want in Canva, drop the Canva, and then repeat, like duplicate the video behind the main video. And it'll just create the blurry version of that behind your main video. So that it'll be the exact size that you want with a little bit of blurry action on the sides, which actually keeps your attention.
Yeah, that's fine. Because not every video can just be straight cropped out to make it skinnier, because maybe stuff's going to get cut out if it has text. But anyways, I was just curious, but yeah, it makes sense if it makes sense to be cropped out to be super wide, but it's something to note that for whatever reason, all the video block is the same exact size. I don't know why Amazon would do that. It's kind of weird that they choose that size for the video block. But for Premium A Plus, it seems like every block is the exact same size, this wide size, whatever reason they chose that size. It's just the way it is.
Right. We have one more example. So this is just so people understand the value of even having basic. So this is a client that we're actually moving to Premium right now. But this client saw 181% increase in sales from updating their content from something that looks like it has lifestyle imagery, right? But it looks very generic, very Fiverr on the left here. And if you look at, it has like a very templated, not even templated. It's just like infomercially
run of the mill look, crappy Amazon listing. Got it.
Right. And then here you have more of like the e-commerce direct to consumer vibe. And this is a brand that like wasn't even running ads yet, like they're just seeing that incremental boost in sales by up content. So there's that one. Akasha Superfoods is actually our superstar. They increased their sales by 600% just with basic A+ content. And the reason why I bring these up is because these were examples before premium was really popular and a thing, but it shows you the value of having A plus content in general. But if you are going to invest and you don't have A plus content at all, I highly recommend premium. Don't even waste your time with basic. And if you are still holding on to old basic A plus content, at this point, it's worth upgrading based on the data that we're seeing. So let's see, here's an example of A plus content banners again. But this is something that, you know, going from what they had before, which nothing, to having A plus content increased their sales by 600% because they had a false start on Amazon.
Yeah, makes sense to upgrade if you can.
Cool.
Get amongst. Cool. All right, what's next? Is that all the examples?
Yeah. Do you want to go into the unlocking? Or you have questions?
Sure. No, I'm good in terms of questions. So, so the unlocking part. So I'll pull that up here. So you have a video on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, I'll pull that up right here.
So to remind people, in Riley's last A plus video on YouTube, there was 2 requirements at the time that you needed to unlock premium. The first one is still the same. You have to have a brand story uploaded and applied to every ASIN. Okay. And so just remember that. That's the first requirement. Even the deactivated ASINs on your account, just put it on there. And by the way, you don't have to design something fancy like what we do for brand story. If you don't have a design yet, just use some lifestyle imagery as placeholders and just push it to Amazon so you meet the requirement. Mm-hmm. The second step is that you have to submit, it used to be 15 submissions of A plus content. And here's the place where I feel like most brands are getting confused. Now it's 5. And it's not based on SKUs. So you don't have to have 5 SKUs or 15 SKUs to push to get approval for Premium A+. You don't even have to edit your content, which I thought that was the case as well. I noticed in your video, you said that we don't know if you have to edit the content. I didn't know that either. And so we just went in there and just duplicated, submit, duplicate, submit, duplicate, submit. And so this video will show you exactly how to take those steps to duplicate the content and submit it on one SKU. It doesn't need to be on all of them. Pick a SKU, any SKU that has A plus content, and duplicate, submit, duplicate, submit, duplicate, submit. Do that 5 times. It should unlock your Premium A plus content within 7 days. Usually Amazon's doing the reviews right now of your account on Sundays. So you would have access Monday. So that is the pro tip. And if you want to watch the little 2-minute video, we can link that in the show notes.
Yeah. Very easy. Duplicate, submit. I actually didn't even think about the duplicate. I was just like, make a change, come back tomorrow, make a change on the same one. But it's even faster. Just duplicate 5 times, make them all.
Yeah. And now the review process is way fast, right? Yeah. You don't even have to wait. It's like maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Oh.
Refresh your screen. It'll say approved, and then duplicate, submit, submit. So maximum, this should take you 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So easy. Why not? So if people are wondering, Premium A plus content is free, at least for the time being. Amazon says, if you're brand registered, go in here to your Seller Central and you can unlock it. And then there should be as soon as you qualify, there's a button that says start creating Premium A plus content. So yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Thanks for the masterclass. Any other tips, tricks, or things you want to leave people with?
No, the final thing I'll leave everyone with is always be testing your content and manage your experiments. As of lately, we have seen false negatives in Amazon's manage your experiments. When that happens, we recommend just testing your content manually, which is unfortunate, but sometimes you just got to do it. If you know that you have better content and you have a hypothesis that it'll perform better, upload it and test it manually for 2 weeks.
Are you referring to A plus specifically?
Good question. I'm referring actually the false negatives that we've been seeing are on A plus specifically. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So in manager experiments, you can just test the A plus stuff. Just that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And the reason why I know that it's false data is because some of the clients that we've been working with have basically nothing on their A plus content. They have like a logo and like a really, really bad image and then a comparison grid. And what we upload is something like what you saw in those examples. That's like a landing page style. So the results should only be positive, even if it's 10%. But likely in a scenario like that, it would be more like 300% or 200% increase in sales. And so when we get either an inconclusive or a result saying that our content is not performing better and the original is so bad, I know something's going on, you know? So I don't know if it's the AI changes that Amazon's working on right now or just some changes going on in manager experiments. Yeah. But when we see that, it's just a cue that we need to switch gears and try a different testing strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree though. The manager experiments is it's an amazing tool. Main image, you can test the main image. Basically, you can test the gallery images, you can test the title and the A plus content. So it's a really valuable tool to be using for sure.
Another pro tip on that, don't use the multivariant testing. So there's a test in there where you can actually test your title, product images, and A plus all at the same time. But Amazon doesn't give you the segmented results on what's performing well and what's not. So if your test says it's not performing well, you won't know what's not performing well. You won't know if it's the title or the product images or the A plus. So in that case, the only way you would ever want to run that test is if everything you have is so bad that it could only get better, or if you're rebranding and you don't really care and you're just going to upload everything anyways because you have to do the rebrand, then maybe, you know, but even in that case, you would still want to check it with manual data.
Yeah. So if you're doing the experiments, test one thing at a time. Yeah, for sure. It's either the main image or the A plus.
Change at a time.
Usually we're just going to test either the main image or the A plus content is the most common things we're going to test. But yeah, make sure you don't change other things during that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, anything else you want to share about Premium A plus or anything else?
That's it. That's all the pro tips.
Awesome. Cool. Well,
hopefully it's helpful for everybody.
Yeah, that was helpful. Much needed update. And if anyone watched to the end and liked it, like this video, is appreciated. And questions, drop them in the comments. And you have a YouTube channel as well?
I do. You can find it by searching for Mindful Goods or Daniela Bolzmann.
Awesome. Sounds good. Appreciate it.